How has your self-care practice been going? I can't wait to hear all about it. Please share. I hope you have gotten to a point where one practice feels like it's easy and creative and fun and able to be consistently woven throughout your week. And I wanted to reflect back to you that the goal is not to have one practice that you rigidly do all the time. We are human beings that have very different experiences at any given moment in time. And so we're really looking for practicing with a couple of different techniques, pieces of content, etc. Go back and rewatch the Creating Your Practice videos to create something new. One, to keep variety so that you're interested in continuing to do this work, but two, so that we practice in these low risk environments where it's in our normal routine at home, so that we're really expanding our capacity for resilience when we get activated, when we're out in the world and have a stressful situation. We want to have had practice with a bunch of different techniques so that we can reach for what uniquely meets our needs in the moment. And the more you do this work, the clearer you'll get on which techniques give you what sensations in your body. And you can get really nuanced with, like, this morning, I really want to reach for something that's going to make me feel inspired versus, yesterday morning, I really needed to feel grounded. And you can reach for different things to give you those experiences. And sometimes something that made you feel grounded the day before is not the thing that makes you feel grounded on this day, so that you can reach for something else. We are always changing. Our needs, our desires are always changing. The only constant is change. So I hope that you can continue to build a bundle, build a toolkit of a lot of different self-care practices that you've done in your home routine consistently, and have a feel for them, and you have muscle memory with them and all the things that they feel natural for you to reach for when you're activated, because it's really hard to reach for a practice when our system is activated in that sympathetic mode. Different parts of our brain go offline. Like, it's biologically difficult. It's not just that you don't have enough discipline. So that's why we really want to have it be something that we've practiced in the past in a safe environment. The nervous system needs consistent, small, safe, positive experiences over and over again for it to feel like it can trust and relax and expand and allow for change, right? So that's why we're always doing very small pieces consistently over time. So have fun with it. See what else intuitively speaks out to you about what you might need. For example, you might have needed one kind of self-care when you're going home for the holidays and being around family a lot. And you might need another form of self-care when you are preparing for a big meeting at work or for a performance of some kind. So have fun with it, play with it. There are no wrong answers. There are only your own choices and learning more about yourself in the process. So that's the overall goal, is to have a lot of different practices, and so that you're not just doing them weekly in your life, but you can start to reach for them when you feel stressed out, or when you know you have something that might make you feel stressed out, to really double down and practice before that event, and then double down and practice after that event. So you're really caring for your nervous system in a really beautiful way. To that point, I would like to discuss resilience on the road for all of my Music Cares family that is here. So when you go on the road, even if you're not in the music community and you're just going on vacation, right? This applies. When you go on the road, you are putting your body in new environments, interacting with new people, particularly on a tour experience. It can be you're not sleeping in your own bed. You might not be getting the same rest that you would be getting at home already. And we know that that impacts the nervous system, not having rest, right? And all of your routines are either non-existent or completely different from when you're at home. And it's a lot of back-to-back kind of new experiences for your nervous system. So for our system that is constantly scanning new environments for things that feel out of the ordinary, that might be a perceived threat, this is very overwhelming to put our bodies in these experiences over and over and over again, back to back, without being back home, without being in our usual environment and usual routines with our usual people, etc., which feels safe. Generally speaking, feels safe to our nervous system, right? So even if you really love where you're traveling to, even if you really love the work that you're doing, let's just give a little bit of additional kindness to your nervous system, assuming that it is on some level being very hyper vigilant to try to protect you in these new environments. So it might be this like unseen element that's kind of adding to your stress level that you don't quite understand why, it feels like a disproportionate amount of stress because you're so excited about doing the thing that you're doing, right? So let's just assume that your nervous system needs a little extra love. Everything that we know about the nervous system would imply that it needs a little extra love. It needs some grounding time and space to feel safe. So let's be really intentional about what your self-care practice is on the road. I have a couple of questions in the PDF for you that you can follow along and create your new practice for resilience on the road. And the idea is you can either take something that's already working for you at home and make specific adjustments for the road. So if it's tied to an activity that you do at home all the time, and maybe you don't do that activity on the road, can you now tie it to something that's uniquely road specific that you wouldn't normally do at home, right? But is there an activity you want to tie it to that you do when you're on the road? The other kind of big piece is to just create a whole new self-care practice that is specifically designed for when you are on the road. Meaning when you read over all of your options of like what categories you kind of want support in, think about what would be most supportive on the road and build a self-care practice for that and practice it at home as best as you can before you go on the road. Because essentially what you want to do is create some sort of self-made routine that travels with you. No matter where you go, no matter what environment you're in, no matter what, city you wake up in, etc., that there's some small piece of something that you are taking with you that you can consistently give your nervous system so it has some piece of feeling like things are normal, some piece of like, I can depend on this predictable routine. And again, the intention behind it is much more powerful than like the actual thing that you're doing. So if you choose to drink a glass of water before you get out of bed in the morning or start your day, and if you practice that consistently at home, then when you're practicing that on the road, that's a piece of your nervous system, like a point in time where it can say, oh, right, we're doing this thing that we always do. Things are safe. Things are okay. Right? So it doesn't have to be something big. We're always looking for something easy, something small, particularly when you're on the road. There is a lot of additional stress happening, not only the things that I just mentioned, but if there's stress about performing or inevitably something doesn't go to plan, right? There's just additional stress going on. So you want to make it super easy, super small, and be really compassionate with yourself about what unfolds when you go to practice it. It's not going to be perfect. Imperfect practice is what we're going for. And you can really expect, like, just set up the expectation that what works for you at home is not necessarily going to work for you on the road. That's just how it is. Let's not get frustrated by it. Let's not like have an additional layer of judgment and suffering about it. Let's play with what works on the road. Where do I need extra support? What might be something I want to play with? And I have, again, a couple of questions in the PDF to prompt you to create this self-care practice. And you only want to choose one self-care practice to practice the next time you're on the road, because we don't want to create overwhelm. So once you create your new practice or adjust an old practice specifically for the road, you want to practice it at home as much as possible so that it feels like it's routine and normal and every day for you when you're on the road. And be really intentional about what you pack for your self-care on the road. Often we're thinking about all the things for all the other people or, for the work gig or whatever it is. Remember to pack what you need for your self-care. So if there's something that makes your self-care practice that you create, if something that makes it easier, bring that. Make sure it's on your checklist to put it in your bag. If you'd like to experiment with bringing some natural elements that earth, fire, air, water into your environment when you're on the road, whether that's the actual vehicle you're in or whether that's something for your hotel room or whatever it might be, right? You can play with that, bringing something, that really grounding energy of nature into your tour experience, road experience. And then the other option that I threw in there was, if there's anything that you think would just be supportive and comforting and nurturing for your five senses. So let's just say that we know that, it's a lot of stress on the system. How can we be really kind and give our body the experience of safety, even if it's not a particular practice we do? If you can just have your favorite drink on hand, if you can bring something that you like to hold that feels grounding to you, or something soft that's easy to sleep in, or bring a candle that you really love, anything, again, to be intentional about giving your five senses a soothing experience when you are admittedly putting your system through a lot. So it's another way just to be really compassionate with yourself. Play with this again, but before you go on the road, actually write out the one practice that you're going to try so that you don't get overwhelmed with trying to pick something when you're actually in your activated state. Beforehand, choose what you want to play with, write it out, pack all the things that you need for support, tell the people that you need to that might be supportive to you and helping make it happen, and then execute as best as you can with a ton of self-compassion and just a lot of self-awareness about, oh, that didn't actually turn out the way that I thought. That's interesting. I actually need more of X. Or, oh, that's curious. It didn't even occur to me that I would need support with sleeping because I sleep so well at home. But now I want to work on like a sleep practice for when I'm on the road. That's going to be really supportive for me. It's all just a giant experiment to learn about what you need. I hope that these practices can be really supportive to you. I hope that it feels like there's some sort of lightheartedness or playfulness to it as well. I am sending you so much love from here. I hope you take beautiful care of yourself. Per usual, I am going to put up my contact information so that you can reach out at any point in time with any questions, or if you're feeling like you can't quite wrap your mind around how you can adjust this thing. I love coming up with solutions for that. That's like my favorite. So here's all my info. One more time. Oh, and I've really just enjoyed being on this journey with you. I'm so honored to just be a small part of your journey. Please don't try to memorize or study like everything in here. I've given you a lot of options because that's part of my trauma-informed process. It does not mean you need to do all the options. It's just so that you have a lot of things to choose from. Really trust your intuition. Trust that whatever it is that is meant for you will come up to the surface for you to explore, and that you know, some things that we might have learned in this time together, you might not think of next week or the week after, but then like something might come up that connects to it in a month from now. That is very much how this nonlinear process works. So have a lot of compassion with yourself. I hope that this brings you lots of grounded, beautiful, centered energy so that you can really be enjoying your life and receiving all of the abundance that's all around you. I know you've worked so hard to create this life that you're living. My intention is for you to experience and enjoy all of the beautiful gifts that are all around you. Until we meet again, take beautiful care of yourself. Please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you for being here. I'm so proud of you. Keep going.